You know, that terrible feeling when you come home from work, you're absolutely exhausted and you realise you've got people coming over. This is my go-to meal when I'm strapped for time. I've got these lovely Silver Fern Farm lamb loin fillets, and all I'm going to do is take them out of the pack. That's the first thing I do when I get them home. So what you want to do by doing this is you're going to bloom the meat. And that means that it will gain the colour and it comes back to room temperature. And sometimes you can get a wee bit of a fridgy smell, so that will go away. Just chuck that on a plate. And the thing I love about this meat is all the hard work's been done for me. There's not a skerrick of fat in there, and it's really lean and tender, and a little bit goes such a long way. Salt and pepper. People often forget about salt and pepper, but it's just so important. This is going to give you real flavour in the meat. I like a little bit of cumin. You know, it's wonderful. Just with this fabulous kind of global pantry that we have at our fingertips now, you can make everyday food taste so interesting. So just sprinkle a wee bit of cumin over there. It's probably about half a teaspoon in all. And some pepper. With the pepper grinder, that has got pepper in it.
So if we were out of cumin, could we change the flavours up with a different spice?
Absolutely. So something else that might be nice in there, if you haven't got cumin, you could put lemon rind in there, or you could put some Moroccan spice in there, or if you didn't want anything, you could just keep the meat quite plain. So let's get this cooking. Have your pan quite hot, medium high, and I like to use a heavy bottom fry pan so that it holds the heat for me. And while that's heating up, I can prepare my salad ingredients. So this is one of those salads that you can really improvise with and use whatever ingredients that are fresh at the market at the time or that you've got in your fridge or your garden. I've got some lovely rocket here, I've got cherry tomatoes, I've got roasted red peppers. If you wanted, you could put fresh red peppers in there. I've got a cucumber and a little bit of red onion, and then just to give it some extra kind of flavour, make it feel a bit more exotic, I've got olives, feta cheese and mint. And you really can't go wrong with fresh herbs because they're always going to bring a brightness and a real freshness of flavour to everything you cook. So a little bit of oil in the pan, and it's really important whenever you're cooking any kind of meat that the pan is hot before you add the meat, and that way it sears and it seals and you get this lovely caramelly crust, and that's going to give you so much flavour. If the pan's not hot when you put the meat in, all the juices start coming out and you just really don't get the same amount of flavour or that lovely texture. So you can test it just by dropping a little bit of moisture in there, and you can also look up close and you'll see that the oil starts to film, and by film you can sort of see a shimmer happening on the top. So fire those in. Whenever I'm cooking meat, I tend to use an extra virgin olive oil, just a commercial one. But if you wanted to, you could use grapeseed or one of those high heat oils like rice bran, grapeseed, that have quite a neutral flavour. Because this has a slightly Mediterranean take on it, I like the idea of using olive oil in here. So I've got cucumber, and you can choose. It's so interesting when you're cooking, the way that you cut up your vegetables really does give the dish a different feel. So I'm just doing slices of cucumber that I'm just cutting in half. So I've angle sliced it, but if you preferred, you could do a dice, you could do a batten. You know, that is one of the things that is so interesting. Lots of people cut things up too small, I think, when they make salads, but you know, you might prefer to make sort of more of a matchstick strip with the cucumber. She says, cutting it up really crazily, and have it like that. So you've got some choices there. And that really is a lot to do with your own personal style when you're cooking, I think. So, how do I know when to turn it over? So I can usually tell that I've got a little bit of a sort of brown rim on the edge, and I want to turn the pan when the meat is actually nicely brown. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? So we're talking about 2 minutes each side here, 2 to 3 minutes. I really love meals like this, that you can come home and you've just got everything at your fingertips. Perhaps on the way home from work, you might pick up that piece of meat or fish, and then it really is just a toss. And you're bringing in these flavours like the cumin and the lemon and the mint that make it taste so much more exotic. Okay, a little bit, if you like, of red onion. And if you're going to use a red onion, you want to cut it really thinly, otherwise you're going to end up with it just tasting too strong. So just really thin. And if you can see the way that I'm using my hand here, that's the guide. So it means I can't chop my finger off. If I cut like that, it's so much easier to just find that you are going to slip with the knife. So that helps me move along and cut these really thin slices. Just break those up. And it's pretty colour too, you know. I love red onion. And it's much milder than brown onion or white onion. So what else should we put in there? A little bit of crumbled feta. Just get any kind of feta cheese, roughly crumble that. And I'm going to show you in a minute how to tell if that meat is ready. Okay, some olives, and I love Kalamata olives. They have a real tang to them. So a couple of handfuls of olives, lots of mint leaves, just fresh mint leaves. Take the stalks off because they're tough. And let's look at our meat. Okay, this is what you're wanting to do, to tell us the meat's ready. So can you see it's quite bouncy now? So that's going to be medium rare. When it's really thick, you can see it's got more give in it. That's really rare. So what we're looking for is a medium rare result. It's going to carry on quite a lot when it comes out of the pan. And this is the most important step of anything when you're cooking meat. You take it out of the pan and you resist the temptation to cut it up straight away. So now what you need to do is you need to rest it. And when you rest it, what that does is it just allows all the juices to disperse evenly, and the meat is much more tender and much more juicy. So a bit of tinfoil on top and then just a napkin over that just to keep the heat in while we finish our salad. I've got some roasted red peppers here, but if you didn't have roasted peppers you could put fresh peppers. It's sort of one of those things that take any ingredients that you really like and put them together.
So Annabel, do you keep bits and pieces of leftovers and extras that you make from other meals for these kind of go-together meals?
I always keep leftovers because I actually think that leftovers are such a good starting point for so many different meals. And the other thing I like to have in the fridge are these kind of flavour fixings, ingredients that have lots of taste that mean that you can turn everyday meals into something really simple. So having olives, having feta cheese, always having lemons. You know, you can't really cook without a lemon, I don't think, especially when it's an orange. We'll find another lemon in here. Okay, so lemons are my go-to ingredient. So I'm going to squeeze some lemon juice over this, and maybe a little bit more olive oil. And in a way, you don't even need a dressing to mix up. But if you wanted to, you could make a dressing with some crushed garlic, a little bit of cumin, lemon and olive oil. I might put a wee bit of cumin in there just to make it taste going through from the meat into the salad, and a wee bit more oil. Okay, I think we're nearly there. Cut up our meat, toss it together, and we're ready to go. Look at that, it's going to be so good. And all those juices, put them into the salad as well. So you always want to cut meat across the grain, and that makes it super tender. Can you see how that is just unbelievably perfectly cooked? Just lightly rare. So yummy. And it really does make a little go a long way. So that's easily going to serve 4 people. And if you wanted to, you could bulk this salad up with something like couscous, or you could serve it with a loaf of bread or some roast potatoes. And it's just 10 minutes and you've just got the most delicious meal. flavour in there. Give it a good toss. You know, and if someone else turns up for dinner, throw in some more tomatoes, throw in some more feta cheese, add some couscous. It's just the most fantastic meal in one. And doesn't that look pretty? So easy, so light, and so tasty. So there you have it. Dinner for 4 in 10 minutes. I really hope you enjoy this recipe. It's so simple, tastes so good. Love you to share it on Facebook. Look forward to seeing you next time.